I grab my sketch and make the line. Patterns flow like vintage wine. Dress in colors bold, refined.
Alright guys, good morning. So in this tutorial we are going to deal on the perfect English trouser. So this is a follow-up video of the one I posted earlier on today, and I think the playlist, this video will be on the playlist of if you want to be consistent in your fashion designing. Now I knew why I had to write this on the board in this form so that you will get it clear. Now these are the measurements my client sent to me, and the waist is 34.5, hip is 45, lap is 25, knee is 18, ankle is 15, shoulder length is 42. So now when you have all of these things measured, now for you, before you proceed or before you start the cutting process, you need to verify. Even if you're the one that measured it, you need to verify. So since I wasn't the one that took the measurement, let me still verify what the person wants or the measurement corresponds. Now the first thing you will note in every measurement is that the difference between your waist measurement and your hip should be at least 9 inches. That's if you subtract your waist from your hip, the difference should at least 9 inches. Now the hip is 45, right, and the waist is 34.5. So this is 11.5 difference. So the reason for this is because if you observe, this person now has a small waist, but the hip is a bit big, right? Now once you have noted the difference between this and this should at least 7, 8, 9 inches and above, that means the measurement of the waist and hip is corresponding. But if by paraventure mistakenly this hip is given to you as 40, you get, that means there's possible mistake that can come over here because it's less than 7 and 9. So it's going to, in that case you have to increase your hip to a bigger value. So invariably, I'm not telling you that when you get your waist circumference perfectly measured, you could assumedly add 9 inches to that, then before you start taking the hip value, so that you will know how or the value you should expect when you're taking the hip circumference. After that, now another thing you need to understand here is that if you divide your hip by 4 plus extra 2 inches, like I said earlier on yesterday, it should be equal with or a bit bigger than the lap measurement divided by 2. So let's cross check what we have just said. Now 45 is my customer's hip measurement divided by 4 will give us 11.25. That's 11.25. Then plus 2 inches will be able to give us 13.25. That's 13.25, right? Now this 13.25 is the value you have on the total distance on your crotch point when you apply your hip value plus extra 2 inches. Now I told us that even if you were not given lap measurement, your hip could give you a lap, or even if you were not given lap hip measurement, your lap could also give you your hip. So now let's cross check. Now the lap is 25 inches divided by 2 is going to give us 12.5. You are seeing that the lap is smaller than the hip measurement divided by 4 plus extra 2. So these are the things you could look into before you start drafting your trouser to make sure that they are in coherence. Now you and I believe or know that there is no way that the lap value should be way bigger than the hip measurement divided by 4, right? So these are the few things I wanted us to understand. Now before we proceed to the drafting proper, now I took my time as well to divide these values so that you will get it clearly when we are referring to them on the drafting table. The waist is by 4, see 8.625. Roughly you can mark 8.75 when you're marking. When you're drafting, you must not really get to mark exact of what you have here. Once you have a decimal place, just place it. If it's not half or 1/4 or 3/4, if it gives you a fraction that is a bit confusing to you when you are drafting, use the one that is a bit bigger than the closest value to get your marking. But when you are now sewing, you now locate the actual measurement to close, which will now be easier because that time you'll be dealing by 2 division. Now hip by 4, 11 1/4, which is clear enough. Lap by 2, 12 and a half, which is also clear enough. So this is how you do your division. So this video will be explicit. It will be one of the longest videos as well I will make. Both the cutting, the sewing will be in one video. So it will be averagely above 1 hour. So try to watch the very end. Please don't fast forward, don't skip, And if you're a first-time viewer of my videos, my name remains Mr. Redefined. And don't forget to like this video, share, comment, and also ask your questions in the comment section of this video. I also have paid classes on Telegram where I coach and mentor people to learn male fashion designing at the tip of the finger. So if you want to join, send a message to the number on the screen or contact me on any of my social media platforms, which I will give you the details of the online class. So let's get to the drafting proper. Alright, so now we are on the drafting table. So here we have our fabric. So this fabric, they gave it to me as well. So the name of this fabric is super fine, right? So I think it's a very quality material. The price range should be around 8,000 naira, 85 per yard. It's in the category of virgin wool, small cashmere, Irish. That's the range of the quality. So material as well is of essence. So now the number of yards this person brought for me, let me check it so that you'll be well detailed of what we are doing. So he gave me 36 inches is 1 yard. I hope you know that. Then this is he gave me a trouser length. He gave me one trouser length, and because one trouser length is 45, right? Let's confirm. One trouser length is 45 inches. So he gave me one trouser length and 1.5 trouser length, 45 inches is one trouser length, and then one trouser length and half, right? Exactly, that's what he gave me. 1.5 trouser lengths. You see, 22 and a half. So 45 is 22 and a half, yeah. So he gave me one trouser length and half. So if you are going to ask the question of how many yards did I use, this is the answer. So that I don't want this video to confuse you. I want it to clear you some doubts. Now, once you have gotten your fabric, now the best way to fold your material is to bring the both end, that's the height of the fabric, then fold into 2 this way. So once you fold into 2 that way, you make sure that it's being held properly. The right sides will face each other, right? So you hold it that way, and then this is what you are going to have. So you hold the fabric in a firm position, in a very firm position. Arrange it. It's advisable that you iron, like I always emphasize. Ironing will help you to clear any rumples or any to also dictate any fabric that is not that will expand or that will contract when you iron. So you make sure you hold it firmly, and then you iron with your steam iron. So I am a lover of steam iron. Steam iron helps the work to go smoothly and it comes out nicely. So you can do well to get yourself one. If you have, try to learn how to use the iron always at every given time. So once you iron properly, this steam iron is not yet hot. I will just leave it on to get hot while we proceed. So once you have gotten to this stage, now the next you will do now is to bring your set of rulers. Give me that other angular ruler. That square one. You did that side. You did that side. Go bring it. Sorry, what happened? Alright, so now the first thing you always do is you mark out your side lines, just like this. Mark it out. So these side lines must be properly marked out, and they must go as straight as possible. You mark it all through this way, then mark all through this way, mark all through this way. After this, you also mark out your baseline. You also mark out your baseline. You also mark out your baseline. So these lines I'm marking out are the very essential lines you must have when you are drafting. So now we have gotten to this stage. I think I will use my white chalk on this so that this blue is giving me one kind of vibe why not like. So let me take my invisible chalk. Now, the next you will do now is to mark 2 inches here. These 2 inches serves for the folding of the trouser or the hemming, which is not part of the trouser length. Please, it must be 2. It can be 1 or it can be 1.5. Then you connect the line this way. Make sure the line is as straight as possible, and your markings should be singular lines, not double shaded or triple shaded, right? Make sure it's singular line. After you have done that, the next you apply is the length of trouser, which they gave us to be 42. So you mark 42 trouser length of your client, 42. So you make sure that your lines are as straight as possible as well. You mark 42 just like this. After the 42-inch trouser marking this way, then the next you will do is to mark your waistline, which is now at this point, right? So you mark your waistline at this point. So here becomes my waistline of my client. So make sure you extend the line as well as long as possible. Now you have got to your waistline. Now the next thing you are going to do is to get your crotch. Now for the crotch, how do you get it? I've already told us, I gave us a formula which I use, but the simplest explanation is the customer's hip measurement divided by 4. So the hip we have is a hips of 45, by 4 gave us 11.25. Now out of my own personal discretion or decision, I want to use 11. I want to ignore the 0.25 because even if I round it up to the next number, the 0.25 there, if I put 5 as 1 to 2, it becomes 3. It's still not up to 5, so I can ignore the 0.25. So I'm picking 11-inch crotch for my customer's crotch depth. So this can also be cross-checked if you had measured your customer's crotch by measurement, and then you know if it's corresponding to that same point. So here becomes my customer's crotch depth. Here is my customer's crotch depth. Now I will get my knee line. So how do you get your knee line? You also measure from the crotch depth to the ankle line here, the length of trouser here, right? So here is giving us almost 31. So let's say 31. So divide the distance into 2 equal parts and come up by 3. So 31 by 2 is going to give us 15.5. Then if you minus 3 from this, if you come up by 3, you are going to have 12.5, right? So here you're going to mark 12.5. So this point now gives us the knee point. The knee point. All these things I'm saying are very essential. I pray you understand them as I am proceeding. So if you are getting value from this video, please don't forget to comment value, so I know that this video is giving you value, right? If you are getting it interesting, comment value and drop a heart emoji for me to know. And also give me a thumbs up. This video should have one of the highest likes ever on my channel because I'm taking my time to explain. So after this now, the next you are going to get is your hip application, which is the 11.25. So at this point, you are not going to reduce anything. You're going to mark or apply the exact of 11.25 that you have gotten on your customer. So 11.25 is 11 1/4, which is here. 11 1/4, which after 11 you have the second value at the middle of half is 11 1/4 right there, right? So you mark 11 1/4 right there, and then you mark your tape as well in this form. Then add extra 2 inches to this. The 2 inches you're adding is constant. You must add 2, no matter the person's measurement, right? Then try to extend the line to have like 1 inch high, 1 inch low across the crotch depth so that it will be visible enough. Then after that, you are going to divide this total distance into 2 equal parts to get the midpoint. And the midpoint is called the grain line, gradient line, or the plumb line, depending on how you want to call it. So from here, you measure, and this is going to give us, remember this was 11 1/4 plus 2, 13 1/4. So let's say 13 1/4, and 13 inch divided by 2 is 6.5. Then 1/4 will be 1/8, right? So here you divide into 2, or simply the best thing to do here is to fold the tape into 2 so that you don't make mistake of the value you are going to mark. Fold into 2 and then mark at this point so that you know exact of the center of this total distance. So whatever you have marked here, transfer it to the knee point. That same way, transfer to the knee point. You also mark here. Transfer it as well to the ankle line. So you also mark on the ankle line, right? So the reason I'm trying to explain this to you in this form is for a clear understanding, so that you don't have issues anymore whenever you're marking trouser. Then you can decide to rule the lines to connect them all through, or you can decide to draw what they call a disjointed line, just to like indicate the center points of your trouser. So this method as well can be used to draft for female trousers. But then I would take my time as well, or make a time to make a video on how to draft a proper female trouser as well, which will still be related to this, but slight difference, which I will show you as we progress. After this, the next you will do now is to apply your knee measurement. Before the knee circumference, let us reconfirm the lap. Now remember, the lap we gave us was 25. Divided by 2 is 12.5. So let's check if the 12.5 is inside this range. So 12.5 is covered. Even if I go down a bit, 12.5 is still covered, and the lap is right beneath the crotch. At least 1 inch beneath the crotch is your crotch, or 2 inches beneath the crotch is your lap, rather. 2 inches beneath the crotch depth is your lap measurement. So even if you come up here, lap is covered. Even if you go down, lap is still also covered. Then the lap and the hip measurement has agreed to be this point. Then we are done with this. Let's go to the knee. Now the knee measurement we have is 18. So divided by 2, we have it to be 9.5, right? 9 is 18. Sorry, 9 is 18. 18 knee. Then 18 is 9. So this distance, this center line, simply means that it has to divide every measurement you are getting in equal parts. So since we have 9, so we are now going to divide the 9 again into 2. So invariably now we are dividing the knee into 4, right? So 9 is 4.5. So from the center line, you mark 4.5 inches this way, and here you also mark 4.5 inches this way, which gives us to be 9 inches, right? So which gives us this to be 9 inches. So this is what we have to be 9. This is what we have as well here to be 9 inches. After this, the next you will do is your ankle. Ankle is 15. So if you divide 15 by 2, you have 7.5. Now, still the same formula we use to divide the knee is what you're going to apply on the ankle as well. So 7.5 divided by 2 is going to give us 3/4. That's 375, right? Because 7 is 3.5. Then 5 is 2.5. So you have it to be 3/4. So this is 3/4. Let me show you. This is 3/4. After the 0.25, the next center value here is 3/4. So here you mark 3/4. It comes all through this way. It comes all through this way as well. 3/4. And after which you extend the line this way. Make sure the line is boldly marked. And then now we go to the waist circumference. So the waist we have is waist of 34.5. Divided by 4 gave us 8.625. That is roughly 8/4. So here you mark 8/4, right? 8/4. Then here you mark this way and add extra 1 inch to it. 1 inch is all you need to add on the waist. Please note, 1 inch is all you need to add on the waist. After which, then connect the 1 inch you have on the waist to the real hip. This 1 inch to the real hip, it comes all the way to this very point. Then after that, the next you will do now is to connect these lines, so watch carefully how these lines will be perfectly connected. So let's proceed. Now to connect them, you bring your hip curve. Before the hip curve, this ankle line should be raised to an extent like 7 inches to 10 inches high to the calf point, 7 inches to 10 inches high, somewhere to the calf point, and also raise this one as well, 7 inches to 11 inches high, somewhere of this nature. and then you take your rule, your hip cuff, place this way, inwards. The curvy part should face inwards and not outwards. So how you handle your rule as well could be one of your issues you have when you are drafting. Always make sure that this point of the ankle, just watch what I'm doing, observe how these rulers will be placed. The placement is very important, that you learn how to place it, because even though you have them, if you don't know how to place them, you will still ruin whatever you have gotten to at this stage. So place it in this form. Please note that I did not place this way. Watch, here has much curve, and much curve is not needed at the ankle line, at the ankle calf line to the knee line. You can even use a straight line to join them. It will still work. Like, it's even better off you use a straight line to join this part, right? But then let's use this. So you have to remove the curvy area off, then connect where that is a bit straight this way. So this one has a slight curve, right? Then do the same thing you did here on the other side, but this time around turn it over this way, because this ruler was placed inwards. So this one will also go backwards this way, and then you carefully connect these ones as well, from this very point to this very point, right? The lines will be connecting. Then push it off as well to this point. Connect the crotch extension to the knee line. If you observe, I pushed off my ruler very well. So if you might ask or want to know, I don't use from 20 in, if you have this ruler though, but that's by the way. So make sure the curvy area is not pushed in this way. Now the reason why I'm saying this is because if you place the curvy part more inwards, you are going to shorten some fabric that will now be making the laps to be so tight. So this is better off as well to draw with a straight line, for you not to achieve or have a tight lap encroachment. Because if you place this curve this way, what's the difference? If you do it this way now, you will notice you will have a little encroachment on the lap region, which is not needed, right? As you can see, the curve there is shortening possible lap fitting or thigh fitting at this point. That's the sense of not using the curvy area this way. Then push it off as I have explained this way, and then you connect from here to this very point. Make sure the lines are straight enough, so we are using the thick one as our connection. Then continue coming from this area as well. Also observe how I place my rule, and then once you get to somewhere maybe 3 inches or 4 inches before the clutch depth, then turn the ruler this way and then finish up the line which you have started in that form. As you can see, the connections are coming out nicely. Then after which, with the help of your trouser cuff as well, even though you don't have this, you can simply mark 2 inches here and then make a curve from that to this point. But this one gives us a perfect connection, which goes from here, you connect from this point to this very point. So just make a connection. This one does not have any limit, just flush it to the line that comes down from the hip, the waist to the hip. Then slope by half an inch, that's 0.5. Slope by half, 0.5, and then use your rule to connect from here to somewhere after the line of your waistline. Then after which, you mark your pocket width, which is 2.5 at always, and pocket depth, which is 7 inches at always. But for this guy, I'll use 7.5 because he seems to be a bit slim, but big. So I'm using 7.5 for him to have ease while putting his hands in his pocket. So this is the perfect connections of our trouser, right, for the front panel. So if you derive value from this video at this point, you should have been very happy and smiling. And if you follow this tutorial, you achieve a perfect result. So let's cut this out and then show you as well how to cut the back panel as well. All right, so now we want to draft the back panel. So what you simply do, you have seen how the front panel was cut, then place the back panel, place the front panel this way. You have to turn it over the other way around so that it can accommodate the hip protrusion. So now this is the placement, and make sure it's as straight as possible, so that you don't place in a slanted form. So So once you have gotten your placement rightly this way, I usually use my baseline at the crotch here, at the hem here, to get my straight lines, and make sure you have extra inch at the up region and extra inch here as well. Approximately 2 inches thereabout is needed. Then the perfect connection is you take the crotch curve to be a bit slopey this way, and then you are going to extend here by 2 inches. So 2 inches is the minimum or the recommended, except when you have an extra large client, you can now do what's it called, 2.5 or 3. So, but this guy is not big, he's regular size, so 2 inches is what I'm dropping at the inseam. If you observe, I did not add any allowance on the ankle, the knee and the lap. Only the crotch has extra 2 inches, which is constant. Then after you have done that, the back waist allowance here is 1.5 inch. You can still use 2 if you want, but you will trim before you finish sewing. So use 1.5 at the waist point here, just at this waist region, and then from somewhere on the crotch here, you can use 2 inches at that point, this way, at that point. Then connect these 2 inches here to this very point, this way. It goes in this very form, and after which, carefully make sure this connects and blends properly this way, and then the back panel will be raised by 2 inches, right? Because you slanted the front by half, you have to raise the back panel by 2 inches, and that raising is going to make it to not give you what they call lowest effect, and the raising should end at the side seam where you mark as your baseline. So here, from that very point, you tilt it all through this way, and then you can now finish up the back waist in this form before you now run down across from here, going to the crotch region, your 2 inches, you connect all through this way. Carefully connect all the lines, connect them in twos, right? And you are done with the back panel. So after you have done this now the next you also do is to cut it out, and then we now proceed with the other components of the trouser. So let me cut it and show you the result as well. Right, so now we have cut out the front panel and the back panel. So let's deal on the components, because these components are very essential that you also master or learn. So this is the front panel and the back panel. So you also drop chalks on them. The chalks is going to help us to know the front and the back as well. So don't forget to give notches on the pocket points where you have marked for the pocket notch. And please note importantly that the extension of this pocket region, this extension here, is optional. Most times I just leave it as an indicator to know where the pocket point will also reach. Most times I also cut it out, but make sure whenever you're leaving it, the fabric should be original so that it doesn't burn this when you're ironing. But if you dictate that this is not original, we are going to cut it off when you are sewing. And this extension did not include the back panel. The back should continue with that assumption that this was not there, right? It should just continue that way, so that in case you have issues on that, I've explained this immediately. So the next we are going to deal on is the pocket component, the trouser component. So this right there can be used to do our pocket facing, and the measurement for pocket facing is okay, let's use this for pocket facing. It's 4 inches width, or at least you can use it 3.5, by the length of 9 to 11. So I'm using 10.5. So right there, you can leave it square or curvy, but conventionally it's a curvy area. So you can curve all through this way, and this is what I have for my pocket facing. And for the zip fly or zip flap, now you hold it this way as well. The measurement for the zip fly or zip flap is 3 inches maximum, by the length of 10 inches, 9 to 10 or 7 to 10, but should be a bit longer than 7 inches because of your zip. So this is what you have for your zip fly. So all these regions, all these ones will be gummed and weaved. I will show you how to use them when we proceed. Now the next we are going to cut here will be the welt pocket placket for the back pocket. You know, a pair makes one, so 2 pairs makes the 2 pockets. So here I am going to have the measurements to be 3 inches width by the length of 7 inches to 8 inches wide or long, right? So this is what we have. So here we have it to be 8.5 inch, and this is 3.5. You know, something within this region you will see weave and fold and trim off, so this is perfect for this. Then the next we are going to deal on here will be our bait loop or bait holder. Now the bait loop is 1.5 inch wide or width by the length of 24. There are 6 loops on a trouser. 6 bait loops makes up 1 trouser for regular fit, but when you have an extra large customer or extra large client, you can now put extra 1 or 2 to accommodate the waist circumference, so that the belt will be able to grip the waist very well. So the width is 1.5 inches and the length is 24. So I'm cutting out 24 by 1.5. This is more than 24. It's on fold. I'm okay with this. And then the next we are going to deal on here is the band. Now the band measurement is your customer's waist circumference divided by 2 plus extra 7. Now let me show you how to cut the waistband. You must make sure you have a baseline that is as straight as possible, just like this way, and then the lines connects or resonates straight all through to this very point, and the width is 2.5. The width of the band is 2.5. Please, very important, please note 2.5 for the width, 2.5 for the width. And after this, the next you have here, from here goes all the way to this very point. So here it goes all the way to this very point, goes all the way to this very point. So this is what I have. So I will cut out, you know, like I told you, the length of this band is your waist circumference divided by 2 plus extra 7 inches. So whatever you have on your waist, divided by 2 and add 7 to it. That is the measurement you use to cut your band, and the width is 2.5. So the whole sewing tutorial will be added right here in this video. So this will be one of the longest videos you are going to see out there. So let's have the cutting ended. I'll also show you how to gum, how to fold, and sewing. All right. Okay, so now we want to cut the lining, but before the lining cutting, I want to show you the gumming processes I have undergone. You know, the reason I just did it this way so that I will save us some stress or some time. This is the pocket region. Now you're going to gum diagonal. The point you notched, those notch points, you are going to use gum stair and gum it 1.5 inch or 1.25, but 1.5 is ideal. 1.5, right? So gum in a diagonal form this way. Then, you know, the gum should be at the notch, at the center of the notch, that pocket notching you did, and at the tip here. So once you gum this way, you fold it inwards. Bear in mind that this gumming was done at the wrong side, where you chalked, right? Not at the frontal. So you fold in this form. Then do the same thing on the other side, this other panel, gum this as well, and have it folded in this form. The folding should also come from the notch points. Very important, right? Very important. After the notch point, so this is the band. This is the band. So the band, I had to cut this band from the point or the area of this gum stair that you cannot use your hand to cut. You know, this gum stair has a track, the height or the width, depending on how you see it, that you can drag and it can cut off this way. So if you cut the gum from this direction, this band will not lap this way. It will have air or spaces as a result of how you cut the gum stair. But when you cut it from the other way, this other way around, it will lap and gum perfectly well. So you have to measure 2.5 inches with your tape. Mark a baseline, measure 2.5 inches on this gum stair, cut it in this direction that you cannot drag with your hand. Use scissors and cut, right? And then cut it like 2.5 parts or 2.5 pieces. Then gum the fabric of 2.5, which you have cut out for the gum. So after you have gummed all through this way, now I started from here to gum. So after you have gummed the band all through, then first of all you fold half an inch first. This half an inch you are folding will be used to attach the main waist part of this trouser. Fold it to the very end, and then the other end of the band, bring it to kiss or to meet this half inch here. Then you fold all through to the very end. Automatically, this band will now turn out to be 1.3. Look at it, 1.3. When you have followed my instructions. This is how I gum this band, and gum perfectly well, and make sure these things lap in this form. So when you have gotten to this point, now the next thing you will do now is to also gum the zip fly, zip fly, the one that we had to be 3 inches width this way, then gum it full. Then after gumming, you also weave. You're also going to weave this area, and then you also gum the welt pocket placket. The gumming of this one should not be full. It should be like 2 inches thereabout, and the width this way. So once you gum these 4 pieces, you also weave them, right? Just weave them. Then the pocket facing as well, you also weave. The pocket facing does not need to be gummed. Please note, the pocket facing does not need to be gummed. Just weaving all through, and that's all you have. Then after that, the next you will do now is to place your lining to start cutting. So before you start cutting your lining, there's also a pattern that the lining must follow. You have to bring the English mouth, this area, fold into 2. This area must be at the lap region of your lining, please. On no account should you cut your lining with the rough edge here being at the lap region. The reason is that you don't weave lining tips, or you don't fold it. If you fold or weave it, you will have your trouser to be having a layer of the lining weaving when you iron, and that layer will give it a shiny line or a thick line, or it will show that you are wearing something that is thick underneath. So that is why you must use this edge that is so smooth and light. So you hold your lining very well this way, and then you place your trouser panel in this form. So now you have 2 ways you can cut the lining. You can cut the lining to be exactly equal the width of the trouser, or you can cut it to be a bit bigger. So I prefer the cutting of being a bit bigger. The reason is that it helps also to give room for fitting on the trouser. And for your information, the lining length is going to be from the waistline, 19-20 inches is ideal from the waistline, the length of the lining placement. So here you cut this area in this form. Then here we go a straight line. You cut here to be straight. Don't bend it this way, because facing will be taking the part of this area. Then once you have gotten to this point, you can now shift this panel to come in by like 2 inches. So this extra here is going to be pleated at the middle. So like I told you guys, it helps to give your lining some kind of your trouser to some kind of fitting. Just watch what I'm doing, you understand better. So you cut all through this way. Now this is what we have. This is what we have. So what you do is to cut the height this way. So now see what I'm trying to explain for you. Now when you place this line in this way, when you want to sew, you are going to pleat the midpoint. Once this line meets this one, so the excesses will be folded at the middle of the trouser. So this folding is important. It helps the trouser to lap very well. So just iron. So it's kind of going to give you a fit at the inside of the trouser. 1 inch is enough, 1.5 is enough, 2 inches is enough, depends on how excess you have or enough lining you have. So this is how it will lap. So this now will help the outfit to fit the person without dragging or compressing the front panel of this trouser. So the front panel lining has been cut and explained. So let's cut the pocketings. So the pocketings we have, the measurements for the front panel is 13 by 13 inches. So you fold in this form. Fold in this form. 13 by 13 inches. So if you use 14, it's still okay. But the recommended is 6.5 by 6.5. So 13 by 13, 14 by 14 is still okay. So it still depends on the height and the size of your client though. If you happen to have a smaller person, you can reduce or you can add. So here, this is on fold. So here will be 6.5, right? Because it's on fold. Or can mark 7, anyone, it's still okay. Then 13 or 14, anyone, it's still okay. So let's use 13 and a half. So just give a notch at that point, and then get your 13 or 7, anyone. Then cut in this form. Cut in this form. Now you have cut out the front pocketing. Then you will slash or slant one edge. The slashing of the one edge is also very important. Let me trim here to the equal first. The one edge you are slashing will be important that it helps you to stitch your lining easily. So what do you slash? Here, 7 inches notch. Give a 7 inches notch right there. And here, 1 inch or 1.5. So let's do 1.5. So slash it out from that direction. So that's 7 inches. So this helps your sewing to be very fast and precise. So now, you have seen the process of this. You have seen how this goes. You have seen how this goes. Like, just iron your pocketing. I like to arrange my linings or pocketings to be very iron so that while sewing, I won't have much stress anymore. So now, for emphasis sake, since we are using pocketing, the fancy region, since we're using lining for the trouser, the fancy region will be inside. So that when the person brings it out, it won't be a plain color. You get this colored area should be inside the lining. But if there is no line on the trouser, you leave this to be outside. So since we are putting lining, so this is how you place this. These things I'm telling you is so important for proper finishing, especially if you're working on upgrade on finishing of your outfits. This is very important information that I just dropped for you. So just trying to make sure that the foldings are equal here. So here we are done with this. And the next we are going to do now is the back welt pocket. Now for the back welt pocket, there is also a measurement you must use, and that measurement is 8 inches width by 10. So automatically this edge is giving us exactly what we wanted. So I will maintain this. I will just maintain this for my back welt pocketing. So after that, you just slash it out from here. So slash all through this way. So this for the back welt pocket. Then the last but not the least thing we are going to cut will be your zip turn up. There's a fabric you use to cover your zip turn up effect. So I will just pick up this edge and I will use it for my zip turn up effect. So this is how it is. So the lining, I'm done with the lining cutting. So for this zip turn up effect, the measurements for this, let's just say 3.5 inches or 4 inches, right? 3.5 or 4 inches this way, 3.5 or 4 inches this way. Then the length could be 15, 16, just to help you seal your zip. So I will show you what or how it's being used when we start sewing process, but just cut it out and keep it ready. So this can be folded in this form. So this is for the zip cover. All right, so the next will be seeing 16, 15. Just cut something long, you'll see trim it out while sewing. Something that would be ideal to cover the underneath zip and the crotch region. So you trim it out this way. So now the components of the trouser has been all cut out and how to gum has been explained. You will see the sewing as well. All right, so now you take the darts from the straight line, that's the side line of the back panel, not the one that has the crotch. So please note, it's not the crotch region that you take the dart from the side straight line. Measure 5 inches inside, 5 inches inside. Now the dart's depth is 3.5 this way, 3.5, and this is marked at the wrong side in the inner part of the trouser. And then you hold at that point just like this, and then make sure that the dart width is half an inch. The dart width is half an inch. Then you must make sure you start from there, then stitch all through to this very point. Don't exceed the 3.5 depth you have marked. So do the same thing on the other panel as well. This is just the darting. This area will be gummed with gum stair before you start creating your Wells pocket placket. So this is the dart. This is how it came out. It should be straight, not slanted, not beveled. It should be straight at that point. From the side straight line, 5 inches, then deep of 3.5, that width of half an inch. So do the same thing on that side as well. All right, so now we have done the darts and we have gummed this region. Now the reason I'm showing you this process is so that you understand that before you do your pocket welt opening, you must gum this area. Now the gumming measurement I have here is 2 inches width, 2 inches width by 2 inches height by width of 7, right? So now you make sure you get it properly that way, and then with your tape, remember that the pocket opening will be 5 inches, right? So here you place your trouser panel this way. Make sure it's properly arranged. Then on that point where the dart ended, you're going to mark 2.5 at both ends of the dart, 2.5, so that the pocket opening will not be too wide, not too small. 5 inches is ideal. Then you take your rule and rule the line. Make sure the line is straight enough, and the line must touch, run across the tip of the darting point. It must be as straight as possible. Then this is how it is. Then make sure you thicken the edges properly so that the edges will be so visible and will be very clear this way. So you make sure you get it this way. This is what I mean. Then after you have done that, now the next thing you will do now is to place this darting the pocketing underneath your trouser. So how do you place it? The placement will come from your pocketing being placed 1 inch beneath, 1 inch below. So you must place it 1 inch below, and it must be at the center of the dart. It should be 1 inch below this way. Don't make it to be equal. 1 inch below the pocket. So you hold it firmly. So at this point, you are allowed to pin. At this point, you're allowed to pin. That's the essence of having your office pin with you. Then you pin, making sure that it's centralized as well. And then don't allow any edge to be wider. So you can still notch the pocket so that you get the exact point which you're looking for. So here you pin very well. And after you have pinned, so this is what you do. You make sure the pocketing is straight enough, and then you take your placket. Now your plackets where you have weaved, place it this way and notch. So note, we are doing single welt pockets. I will show you guys double welt pockets in subsequent videos. So you do it this way, and then you make sure you place it at the center point where this dart is pointing. Then extend the choking on the flap. Extend the choking here so you will know where your darting, your threading will end. So after which you start from that point where your chalk started from, just that way, and then you stitch, double stitch. Make sure you don't exceed that point. Now you stitch, using your machine footer as a gauge to stitch all through this way. Now end it exactly where that chalk, the other chalk as well ended. After which you cut your threads. Cut your threads at every point in time. Then after this, now the next thing you will do is to repeat the same process which you did there at the up part. Also bring out the chalk, the point, the choking, extend it as well, and then start from there. And so once you follow this process, you will achieve a uniform pocket opening or width. So stitch, your hands must be as straight as possible and don't exceed the line as well. Double thread. So here you gotten it properly. Then you reconfirm the opening which you made if they are equal. So you measure it to be half an inch or a bit bigger than half an inch from the back. So once you have gotten that, then remove your needle and then mark 1 inch in here, 1 inch in as well. Then fold this together, equal folding, fold together, equal folding. Give a notch at the middle this way, and then raise it up. Shift, put your scissors inside, cut it until it gets to that 1 inch. Then shift your placket just like this and give a V cut until it gets to the point where that choking ended. Do the same thing on the other side. Give a V cut. Don't go too close to the placket stitch. Give a V cut and get to that end of the zip, end of the threading where you notch, right? Make sure you get to that point. Turn it over the other way around. Do the same thing on the other side as well. Cut it to that 1 inch. Shift the placket. Give a V cut to that point. Raise it up again. Give a V cut to that point as well, just like that. So once I've gotten it, now you tuck this inwards, tuck it in, the up one, tuck it in this way, and then we are going to open press this point. You will press this tongue this way so that it can help you to flatten the finishing here, right? So once you have gotten to know this, now the next you will do now is to start folding the tip of your pocket, for the back wet pocket. So you carefully arrange all of this, then fold the tip to be the same width of that opening which you have created with your machine footer. Run your nails across it, then tuck it in this way, hold the edges and make sure that it's lapping effectively or perfectly at this point. The angular notchings should be dragged out from here. So here you make sure that this is lapping very well. So you gently, adjust this until it gets to the edge very well. Don't allow anything to be left halfway. So once you have adjusted this to get to this edge, now the next you will do is you go to your machine and your table and iron. You have to use the iron and balance it properly before you start stitching. So I will create the whole of the other one, then so that I'll go to the table and do the both of them at once. Then I will show you as well how to compress everything together. All right, so now we have open pressed this region, as you can see, and we have ironed out all the panels properly, and we have formed the wet pocket. Look at it, you see how beautiful this looks. So now this is what you would have when you are doing your welt pocket. See how synchronized, how perfect it is. Then the next thing you do for the closure is you raise the first placket up, hold the one beneath, and then there is an allowance, or there is an opening here which you will stitch. So hold these two together and sew it down this way. So this sewing is a must, and you must do it in a way that it will get all through to this very point. So this helps to make the pocket folding or tip to be firm without contracting or shifting on the long run. Look at it. This is what I'm trying to say. It will make here to remain permanent. So this is where I made this threading very important, right? Then after you have done that, the next thing you will do now is make sure you hold this. You can use a loose stitch. You can use a loose threading to stitch this. Hold it firmly. This should lap properly. Use loose stitch. Stitch this way. Loose stitch, so that it holds it there. Or you can pin if you want. So once you have done the loose stitching, this is like for loose stitch, trying to hold it there, and then fold this up this way. And that angle-like fold here is where you're going to sew on. That angular fold, you stitch on the angular fold this way. Make sure you sew close to the lining. So once you have sewn on the angular fold, you cut your threads just to end the edge here nicely, and then you also fold up again on the angular fold. On the angular fold this way, you now stitch at that point nicely. So that stuff I did there is very important. Don't skip it, so don't forget to do it. So you just to end the edge properly. And once you are done with that, then you start closing the pockets. How do you close? By simply having your pocket facing folded. Before you do that, if you have excesses here, you can trim it out. You can trim this out. If you have excesses there, you can trim it a bit out so that you have enough space to deal on the lining. Trim it out, not too close, not a bit far from that. So trim these excesses here. So after this, then you start the closure. So how do you close? By simply folding the placket inwards. As if you did not weave, just fold it there, and then stitch on top. Stitch on top. Stitch on top. Now, because of the nature of my pockets on my trouser, you have to fold this again. This one, you have to fold it as well and stitch. I want to pipe or tape the back pocketings. So it's easier for me to pipe when it's curvy, or when it's curvy. So how I will close this is simple. I will just place this way right here. I will place this way right here. Then this pocketing will now be 1 inch longer than your regular length of your trouser. It should be 1 inch longer right there. So I will just hold it this way, and then, so because I'm piping, right, so I'm just going to thread here in a close range, a bit off from the pocket edge. Then, since I want to make it curvy, so I will make my curve mark just like this. Because I want to pipe the back pocketing, that's why I'm making it this way. So it's easier when it's curvy, right? So thread this way. But you can still leave it square if you want. Cut your threads. Then you are going to trim here. You're going to trim here. Trim it a bit closer to the curvy line. Trim a bit closer to the curvy line. Trim a bit closer to the curvy line. Make sure you trim very well. Then you're going to lock the up part of the pocket by simply stitching from here. Stitch from here. Then stitch the up region just like this. Then sew on the sides. So now you have sewn that point. Then you bring your bias. So I will use the black bias. Bring your bias, remove the pin, and then cut the edge. Then start from the very beginning, from the very beginning part of your trouser. Fold the bias to be inside, the lining to be tucked in properly inside, just this way. Then carefully thread, just like when you are piping your neckline. So you do it gently. So biasing is easier when it's curvy than when you have a square, but you can still pipe or bias a square pocket. So whatever you are doing here will be done on the other pocket as well. So you gently pipe. So this is where you take your time, go gently, and do the whole necessary finishing. So you pipe all through. Though this piping is not necessary, it's not a must though, but it's recommended that you do it. It helps to give your trouser a neater finishing at the inside. So gently you place it, and then so once you are done with the biasing or the piping, you cut it out, and then you now lock the pocket edge from here. So at this point, you can decide to leave it straight this way, or you can decide to give it, you can decide to fold it in this form. You can decide to leave it straight, or you can decide to fold it in this form, in an angular form, this way. You stitch here and then hold it from this very point so that it gives you this kind of finishing at the inside. If you don't want the bias to get to the waist of the trouser, or you can still leave it straight, it's still your choice. There's still no problem in doing any of them. So you stitch here, then cut off the excesses, and from here you trim out the excesses, trim the excesses out. So this is what you have. So you do the same process on the other trouser as well. So I will do that and show you the result as well. Right, so here we are done with the pockets, both pockets. Right, look at how beautiful they are, and we have done with the pipings of both of them. So we now want to start the joining process. Now the reason I am taking my time to also teach you all of these things, because if you don't learn these things well, you will still make terrible mistakes. Now in joining, there is also a mistake that you could make that will ruin the whole outfit. Now please note importantly that when you are joining, you are not allowed to allow one leg to be longer than each other. The hem in particular. Because of the nature of this trouser curves, if you don't drag it very well, one edge might seem longer. So join the both sides together and use half an inch or less than half an inch, depending. But I use half an inch in joining. Then once you are stitching, now the point of the pocket here, your stitching should come across it this way. The reason is because here you need to have a neat finishing. Don't stitch at the end here will give you a rough look. So you lap it properly. Your target is to make sure these both pocket points are corresponding and you feel it. So once you get there, you can even double stitch. Then once you have touched that pocket, please put your hand inside the lining and shift the pocketee so that you don't sew it down. So you arrange these parts. You arrange these parts very well. So why you want to arrange these parts very well is because of the fact that this area needs to be balanced. Then you hold the hem, the both legs of your trouser. You have to stretch it out and make sure that it's lapping properly and the both lengths must correspond, please. Then you hold at interval. So make sure you are stitching evenly. You hold at interval. Sew and hold at interval. Don't allow any part to be longer. Then stitch. So your hands must be as straight as possible, please. Very important. And the both lengths must correspond. So this is what I mean. The both lengths must correspond. At any point where the lengths are not corresponding, please don't cut it off. Lose it and resew it and make sure it corresponds. If you make it to cut, if you cut it off, it will make the back panel to tilt towards the front. That is the implication of what I'm just trying to explain in a nutshell. Then join this other side as well. So now here we are going to start the marking or placement of the loops. Right, so the loops, you must make sure that this zip part is being held this way and then fold it backwards. So you make sure you get the actual measurement that is needed for your waist locking. So for the actual measurement needed for the waist locking, your customers, alright, so here the waist of my customer is 34.5. So here you measure from the zip, please note from the zip. You place your tape on the zip. The zip is center point of the trouser now. Then 34.5, which is 17 is 34. Half is 25. From the zip, this is the zip edge. You talk from the zip edge. Yes. So you mark 34.5, right? So in such cases, what I do is when I measure, if it's half an inch, I just do 35, so that in case the person might have added, maybe probably on by itself. So then you measure what is left. So what is left here is 1 inch at the back waistline. 1 inch is left. So 1 inch is what I will remove from here. Then I will start marking for my belt loops. Then for the belt loop, remember that 1 inch was left at the inside. Plus 1.5 inch you place your loop on is 2.5. So you mark at 2.5 here.
Mark both sides.
Yeah, 2.5 here. So from here, mark 2 inches here. 2 inches from the side joining, 2 inches backwards to the back pocket region. That's for the belt loop placements. Then from the pocket point, the pocket tip here, you mark 2.5, which is constant. 2.5. Repeat the same process on the other side. Then from the pocket point here, you also mark 2.5. From here, 2.5. 2.5. From the side joining, you mark 2 inches backwards. Then from the edge or the end of the pocket of the waist back, you mark 2.5 as well. Fine. So once you have understood this, now the next thing you do is to start fixing your band. Then you unzip. Make sure you unzip and then place it this way. So this is the best time you can cut this excess if you want, but I won't cut it now. I will still sew my band and then show you. Now please watch attentively. Remember that half an inch was what we used in folding. That half an inch is where you place first. Don't place this other area, please. Very important. So place it at the end of this band. this way, this just like this, and then you are going to stitch on the line you have folded. So make sure you avoid the zip stopper. So make sure you place it in a way that it will not affect the zip stopper. Then carefully you stitch. Now please note importantly that this folding here has an importance. So that place that you iron, drop chalking on it, and then when you stitch and get to that point where your chalk is, please, there's something you will do there. So make sure that you don't climb the iron stopper. So raise your hand and roll that spot so that you don't break your needle. See? So you can, jump, yeah? So make sure you determine that very well. Then once you reach to that point where the iron zip stopper is, the chalking is, double thread, you double stitch. Now, no, I jump up now because that iron stop now. This iron way there here. I jump up so that means you no go break needle. So this is what I'm trying to say. So once you stop at this point, watch what I will do. I will cut off this excess now. You can cut this out now. Then you are going to raise this band, raise it up by 1.5 inch or 2 inches, depending on how long you want the extension to be. So you raise it up by 2 inches, just like this, right? And then at this point, you continue from that same spot where your chalking ended. Please, very important. On that same chalking on that same point where your chalking ended. Then while doing this, you are going to be inserting your loops. The jointed area will face up. Very important. You face up. Place it this way, and then you stitch. You stitch. So carefully you stitch all the way down. Carefully you stitch all the way down. Now, if you remember, when cutting this trouser, I told us that we use 1/2 inch to join the band. So this is 1/2 inch now. So we are removing 1/2 inch from the length of the trouser. So this band is coming back to replace the slanting of 1/2 inch, and this sewing we are removing now. So that's the essence of my tutorials. If you are keeping to it, you will not have much issues and less questions to ask. So you make sure you don't forget any of the loop points. That's why you have to chalk it very well, and then you stitch the band all through this way. Stitch your band all through this way. You stitch your band all through this way. So remove your chalkings, remove your place your loops on the chalk area. Very important. So now when you get to these very points, make sure that the loops are also straight enough. It should not be slanted or bent. It should be straight as possible. Then you get to these very points where you have it this way. Then cut off excesses this way. So this is what you have. This is what you have. Then cut the excess band. I like to make my band to be longer so that I will take the amount I want, then cut it, and use the remaining of the band for the other side. So this is what you have achieved so far. Then you continue with the other side as well, with the same nature of the same process which you used in the first place. So place it this way and place your band at that point, and also stitch. So if you have watched these videos to this very point, please don't forget to like. You will do me a favor by sharing this video so that people will know that on this channel we teach and lecture deeply. Even without any payment, we can lecture you and become a good fashion designer. So money is not a problem for you not to learn fashion designing. If you don't have money, my channel is the best place you can ever come across with to learn fashion designing. But if you still want to enroll in my personal tutorials, you can do well to send me a message on the number on the screen, or contact me on any of my social media platforms. So while sewing this, you make sure that every panel is properly held. You cut off all these threadings very well. Don't forget your loops. Very very important that you don't forget your loops at every given time. So stitch all through to these very points. So at this point now, the next thing you will do is to make sure, don't forget that iron stopper is there so that you don't spoil your machine. Use your hand and roll. So once you pass it, you can now match. Cut your threads, then cut here as well. So this is what we also have, you see. Then cut the excess band as well, cut it off. So after you have done this now, the next thing you do now is to go and iron this band, and you make it in a kind of compressing point so that it will relax very well this way, so that you don't have any bulge or bulky feeling, or iron it flat so that it will lap properly. After which I will attach the band. Let me iron it and show you the result as well. Alright, so now we have ironed or compressed our band and flattened it. This is how it looks. Both of them, we have done the stuff on both sides, right? So the next thing you do now is to hold the loops half an inch down. So from the band point, you store the loops half an inch down. All loops must be sewn down by 0.5 inch from the jointed points of the waistband, and make sure that the sewing is resting only on the loop. The sewing should not be visible from the outside. So here you stitch it all through this way. So this is what I mean. You will do this on all the loops. So you do the same thing on all the 6 loops. So here we have held the loops half an inch down. So look at the holding, right? You sew it down half an inch down. So this is what I mean. Then once you do it on both sides, then you bring your band and start fixing your band. So I will bring my band, and before we bring our band, there is one thing we must do. So what is that thing? We are going to pipe this edge, and while piping this edge, we are going to fix a certain loop here for fastening this waistline. So I simply use the remaining part of my belt loop, just to make it to lap properly. I top stitch the both ends. I top stitch the both ends. I top stitch it, and then I will use iron to fold an angular folding right there. I will show you when I do that. So I top stitch it this way. So I use iron to achieve an angular folding here. So this will serve as a button holder or a buttonhole for the inner pockets. Let me go and iron this and come back. Here we have ironed it in angular form this way. So this will be placed towards the direction. Now the essence of this is to help you as a second button holder, because this trouser you don't need to put hook, or rather hook might not be needed if you do this stuff. So what you do is you just stitch it, give like button space half an inch, just stitch here half an inch, just this way, half an inch this way. Then cut your threads, cut your thread, cut your thread, cut your thread. Make sure that this edge is even. This edge must be even, right? And then you place it on the band and face it towards inside this way. It will face inward this way. Then you top stitch the base of the tip here. Make sure it's at the center. It must be at the center, and then you stitch here. So you must put this if you don't want to put hook on your trouser. So you stitch all through to these very points. So when you, after doing this now, so the next you do is to pipe or tape this region. So you bring your bias, and start your piping process. So here you fold this way, and then you stitch. So you stitch from there. So carefully make sure that you are stitching nicely. Stitch from there. Fold the bias to lap properly, and then stitch all through. Stitch all through. Stitch all through. So open up the band straight. The band will be straight, open it up, and then pipe all the way down. Then make sure that the piping ended at the exact points this way. Then cut the piping. So this is what you have this way. Now it's now time for us to fix the other band. Then fold this band to go backwards, just like this way, and then it's time for us to close the band tips. So here you stitch a bit off from the folded edge. Now the reason for stitching a bit off is allow the band to remain the same 1.3. that it does not get bigger. So the line you're sewing will not jam this other one. It will give little space there. Don't join with the other, don't connect it to the other line. Make sure you give little space there, and then you stitch the up region as well. With the up parts, I still give little gap. I don't stitch exact of the folded line, so that when I fold my band will still be the same thing. And make sure that the band width folding is corresponding. Don't allow it to go down or go up. It must correspond like this. So you arrange it properly. So once you arrange it this way, then you stitch maybe half an inch above. Half an inch above. Half an inch above. Then after this, you now start fixing your band, the English band. We can still trim out, maybe somewhere here, you trim out and then cut the excesses out so that it will be easier to turn when you bring your English band. Now there are different types of band. Anyone you want to use, you can use it. Then you are going to push this 2 inches inwards, so or 1.5 inch inside the trouser. And then please change your thread to black. Don't use ash or any other color to sew a black. It will dirty the band. It will make the band to look dirty. So at this point, I have to change my thread to black before we proceed. Alright guys, so now we want to start our band fixing. So I believe by now you also must have watched the previous videos I have posted already. So once you stitch to an extent, so now you make sure you raise your loops up and place it underneath this way, and then you gently stitch. So when sewing when you get to your bit loop point, you drag it down a bit, just so that it will help you to relax the loop. And make sure that this band is not getting to that point where you folded. There must be a gap between the both, between the band and the point of folding. So you carefully stitch all through this way. Carefully stitch. So the band fixing is one of the simplest things you can do, but it's still one of it's still so difficult if you don't know how to do it very well. You can ruin the finishing of your outfit. So you make sure you follow suit, follow the directions I'm giving. So you drag it out a bit, just like this, and then you stitch. You stitch all through this way. So go through this way. So this is one of the most comprehensive videos you will ever see on the internet. So if you know you derive value from this tutorial, don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe to my channel. So I still do mentorship training, mentorship on Telegram. If you want to have a one-on-one training with me, you can send the message to the number on the screen or the number on my channel. Just go to my contact and see a number, or look out for me on Instagram, send an Instagram message or Facebook message as well. So this is the band. You can see how beautiful it is. Then you can now cut off your threads here. So you are now going to fold this part to come in this way. Gently fold it to come in this way, and then you gently tuck it out with your scissors or screwdriver. So gently push it out this way. So once you push it out just like this, make sure the edges are properly brought out. Then you arrange it properly. So this is how the band will look. As you can see how beautiful this is looking already. So this will serve you as a button hold. When you put two buttons on the other side of the flap, this will lock the button. Right. So just look at how detailed this thing is. So now we are done with the first band region. So the reason I said you should drag the loop down a bit, so that when this thing turns over this way, it does not stretch or drag the trouser panel to come up. So you can have small space to relax as well. As you can see how it is so relaxed. So this is how you do it. So I will do the second one, and then I will still show you why we do that as well. So you also do the same thing for the other side. So start from the back as well. Now please note, if you're using this particular band, make sure that the red part will be at the up area, like this stuff will be facing down this way. Don't start from this edge, so it's wrong. This smaller area is meant to be on the band region, while this bigger part is meant to be down, because this is where you will use to close the band, right? Fine. So that is also one of the things you should learn as well, the best way to use those bands. So here you drag it out in this form, and then you go all the way to this point. So you gently stitch this. So gently stitch this or through this way. Gently stitch this or through this way. Drag it a bit. It's a small drag, don't drag it much. Small. The dragging will help you to lap. So place it in this way. So now, after you have gotten to this stage, you bring that lining. Remember that the lining we cut out at the beginning, which I told you that I will show you how to use this for. This measurement of lining, remember the measurement was 6 inches width, but the length of the length we have here is a length of 19 or 20, but I will cut it out as well. So this lining will be placed this way. Watch, this lining will be placed this way. Now, the reason you should place it this way, make sure that it's covered the zip by 1 inch after the zip. It should be across the zip by 1 inch. So place it in this form, and then stitch. So when you sew, now you have a whole lot of designs or finishing techniques to do at the edge of the band. So what you will do is, when you observe some English trousers, you tend to observe how their finishing of the band looks like, so that you will know how to handle yours, right? So I just want to have it a bit wider, at this point. I want to have it a bit wider, and maybe possibly come down a bit before I start doing my curve. So this is optional, you're the one that will decide what you want to have. So you're the one that will decide what you want to have or what you want to achieve. So I want mine to be a little bit different from the regular. So you make sure you hold this very well, just like this. It should be 1 inch above the belt. Don't forget the zip, rather. So once you get it perfectly in that shape, then you stitch all the way down. You stitch all the way down. Now you are going to trim out this excess right there. You will trim it out. Now watch how the trimming will be done. You gently trim it out. So any type of finishing you want to have here is your choice. The while cutting this, don't cut it this way, cut it straight so that it laps inwards. Now you now hold it this way and then fling it inwards this way. So this is the finishing of the belt region we have achieved. So you yeah, if you do and straight, curvy, if you even go V, like point any style, now you go decide on what you go do here. So any stage shape you want to do. So once you achieve it perfectly this way, you now go and iron this region. You have to iron it very well so that it laps. So this is what I wanted to achieve. Then I will put two buttons here. Now the first button will be placed here, second one will be placed here. This one will hook to this, and this other one will hook to this, and this is the band. So let me get iron. I'll come back to show you as well the next thing to do. All right, so now we have ironed the band. Then we want to start typing the back region, back waistline. So you fold the bias. Now the reason I am giving you this detail is for you to know. You know, this tutorial I am giving you, most people will ask you to pay for it, but here I am teaching you for free. So the only good thing you do for me is to like this video, share, comment, and tell me how impactful this video is to you. Then you thread. So gently, you pipe all the way to that very point. You pipe all the way to the very point. So when you take your time and stitch and sew such trouser, your trouser will be costly. Like you cannot charge a token or a peanut for this. So you will charge what you know that is worth your stress. And make sure you use corresponding trouser bias in doing all of this. A color that will add beauty to your outfit. Don't go and use off color. And don't use those plain bias. It's not meant for male trousers, it's for female. So this colored one, this striped one is for the male trouser, right? So also pipe the other edge as well. So I'll pipe that one and I will show you the result as well. So now we have finished the piping of the back region of the waist, both panels. Then we are going to lock the back waistline. Now, locking of the back waistline, you must make sure you use the same measurement that was left at the inside. Remember, we had 1 inch left at the back region, right? That 1 inch when we were getting the loop points. So you have to make sure that you hold this band to tally. The band must correspond very well here. And then once you hold the band to correspond this way, you reconfirm. You see, you push it down a bit, you reconfirm the placement of the band. It must correspond very well. So once the band has corresponded like this, then you will now stitch 1 inch from that point, that same point. I want to first hold there so that it will not go out of track. So you hold it, arrange it properly this way. Then I'll change my thread to ash, then make sure it's being held perfectly well. Then you pin it down. So I will change my thread to black. So now you stitch that band point. Please make sure that your hands must be straight at this point. So once you stitch all through, now if it was 1 inch that you had here will be half an inch. Like you'll be reducing your hand as you are going down. You know, there will be no much need to apply or to start measuring your hip or any other thing. Just use half an inch or 3/4 of an inch to close all the way to the very end. So this is what you will have, right? Now, when you have gotten to this stage, now before you close the upper part of the band, you have to confirm that this is tallying. This point is very important. So now there's a little difference here. So I will lose this and adjust it until I get a perfect connection. That's the essence of this tutorial. So you know that some things are being taken proper attention to, are taking proper note of. Look at the band now. There's a little gap here. This little gap can, give you a bad remark. So you lose it and correct it. So that's why I'm showing you the direct recording without editing, so that you know that some of these things we do out here is not at first time trial. You get it straight, so you can see pin it if you have pin, or use hand needle to tack. But the importance of the band corresponding can never be overemphasized. So you just make sure you get it all done. So when you correct it, you lap it very well. This thing must correspond. So it must correspond. So you make sure the band is corresponding. Very important. So this is very important. This thing can spoil your work if you don't do it this way. So you carefully lock all the way to the very end, and then you also reconfirm again. So it's perfect now. Look at it. It's very perfect now. It's corresponding, right? So now you make sure that the line you have threaded or sewn here is straight. Like there's no room to have a bent line or any line that's not straight, because the band closure will affect it if it's not straight enough. Right, so here we have open pressed. After locking the back waistline, you have to open press it this way and then fold the edge of the band to give you a V-like shape here. This folding will help the band to properly finish, because if you don't fold it, you'll be seeing this stuff at the back. So give a V fold just on both ends and then fold this way. So this is how it will be. Then after which you now apply your measurements, your customer's ankle, your customer's knee, and your customer's lap. They connect very well. Now, the reason I came to the table to do this marking is for me to show you that in some cases, tailors can stay on the machines and mark their measurements. It's still okay. But for you that wants to perfect your job, please go to your table so you have enough space to, apply your measurements. So the ankle we had is an ankle of 15. So here divide by 2. So from the ankle here, for the very end here, not from the joining, please note, from the very end here, you mark 15. That's 7.5. You mark 7.5 this way. Then the knee we have is a knee of 18. That's 9. So the knee will be marked exactly on the trouser lining edge. So the knee is 18. That's 9. So you mark 9 here. So invariably, if you observe, we are having like 1 inch as sewing allowance. If you observe the ankle, so from the pattern I have given us, so if you have followed my pattern very well and judiciously, and your measurements are correct, you can likely use the quarter to lock everything and to enter perfectly well, right? So the lap measurement we have is a lap of 25, which is 12.5. So here, you arrange your trouser panel very well. The both crotch area must align as well. And then you bring out the whole SSCs at this side. Then you look for 12.5. Observe, please watch closely. 12.5. You see that all measurements are corresponding. Everything is inside your trouser. That is the essence of following a pattern or a formula. So that everything will give you what you're looking for. And not when you start marking your ankle, your lap will not, your lap will not enter. So you now carefully mark the ankle line to come up this way. Now, the reason, like I told you, I'm marking this very well on my table is for you to see that this is the rightful way to do it. You don't just, use your freehand sketch. The rulers you bought or you will buy will be helping you to connect your line. so that when you deliver clothes, you won't have issues or whatsoever. All your connections, all your fittings will be in place. So this is how it goes. You see that? So do the same thing you're doing here now on the other side. So still hold it firmly that way. And also make sure that the boat crotch is being held together this way. And then you also mark your ankle. Now please note that before you start marking your lap measurement, your knee measurement, it's advised that you iron out some edge here, like make it to relax so that it won't dance. So you arrange an iron, then you start applying. The ankle is 15, 7.5. From this very end, please note, from this point to, not from the joining, from this fabric unfold, the back panel that's folded to the front. So you mark 7.5 because the back panel was bigger than the front. That was why, that is why it should be in this form. Then the knee, we have this 18 knee, which is 9. So at the lining edge here, you mark 9 inches. Then the lap is 25, which is 12.5. So once your measurement has been applied and the measurements are correct, the trouser must fit your client. There's no magic that will make it not to fit, except you have a wrong measurement. So if you notice that you have some rumples or foldings at this area, you take your time and iron it out so that it relaxes very well for you to have a smooth measurement application. You see why ironing is very important. It helps the work to relax. So lap is 25, which is 12.5. So you apply 12.5 as well on this line. So please watch how my tape is, not diagonal, not bent. My tape must be straight beneath the crotch. That is where you apply your lap, beneath the crotch. So you mark 25. That's 12.5. After which you extend the line to come up straight. Extend the line to come up straight this way. And after which, then you connect this with a curve. Connect this with a curve. Connect this from here to curve. And then push this out in this form and connect as well. From here, you connect as well. This way. So you now go to your machine and start stitching. Please note that before you start stitching, please open up the boat crotch. I know I'm saying this, so open it up this way. Pin it, pin here. Then this lap, this crotch inner leg must lap. You have to stretch it. There's no room for one leg to be longer or the crotch to not align. It's very important. Let's go to the machine. So here you make sure you pin the crotch, making sure the crotch point is corresponding. Very important. It must correspond. This crotch line, this both lines must tally. Don't allow you to shift. Then, after you have pinned that point, you now hold the leg of the trouser. Also, make sure you say this trouser now. The front panel might look a bit saggy, but don't allow it to stretch more than the back panel. So you hold it from down this way. Then you make sure you align it, then start from at the ankle and it starts to sew, to join. So when you're joining, you have to stretch the trouser and hold to a certain point and then stitch. When you sew a distance, you pause, hold the crotch again, drag it again, hold the distance and sew. Because I marked the line, don't just no, it will not work. Right, so you stitch from here. You stitch from here. So you make sure you hold it, you hold the crotch very well. You drag it this way, hold to a distance, and you stitch. Very important. Go to a distance and you stitch. Drag it this way. You see the essence of what I'm telling you. If you do otherwise, you go see pepper, you go see shaggy. Trouser go frustrate your life. But if you follow my instructions, you'll notice that you sew this like you have been sewing for years, and there will be this confidence that you develop that your job is coming out nicely. So the crotch must tally. That's the rule. The crotch must tally. There's no room for error. So you gently arrange it. Crotch must tally. We stitch. Then when you are sewing the crotch region as well, the leg must be held in a straight line. Don't sew it like a curve. You have to straighten the legs or the lap region. It must be held like a straight line. Then you enter the next line or the second leg, then continue the sewing. Then you also hold the tip of the leg here and then stretch it backwards and hold intermediately somewhere here. So make sure you follow my directions. You will not have any complaint or issue whatsoever. Drag the leg. So I'm dragging the underneath fabric, the back panel. I'm dragging it, I'm stretching it so that it will lap. So now we have joined the sides, the inner seam. So we are going to iron it, open press. After the open pressing, we fold or we fold the hem, either with hemming gum or you can sew. So you fold after you must open press first. Iron the trouser, fold. Then you can do that. So now we want to start ironing. So you iron the lines you have sewn. Please note that in male clothing, you iron alongside when you are sewing. It's very essential, very important, because most tailors, they don't like ironing, and they be like, after sewing, let me go iron. You might iron after sewing, but you can't compare when you iron in detail. Like any part you have sewn, you go and iron and come back. You can't compare the finishing or the results than when you iron after sewing, because there are some things that after you have sewn finish, your iron cannot get to that point again. You know, the lines might have been hidden, or you might have forgotten to put iron there. So if you really want to be a master, a guru in male clothing, please, you have to embrace ironing, especially steam iron. Especially steam iron. Emphasis on steam iron. It helps to soften every part of your ironing, your sewn lines. Very important. So once you have finished ironing now, then you can do open pressing at this stage. So open pressing as well is another stage of ironing that every tailor.
I grab my sketch and make the line. Patterns flow like vintage wine. Dress in colors bold, refined. With fashioned art I'm intertwined. From the canvas to the screen, styling dreams like you've never seen. Textures blend in harmony, creating fashion symphony. Hey there folks, don't be shy. Hit that like, subscribe, apply. Comment down if you feel fly. Mr. Redefined is standing by. Outfits popping in daylight, mixing shades to feel just right. Drawing styles that take their flight.
So my length of trouser is 42. So you apply length of 42 from here. You apply 42. So we have 44.5 left. So we are going to fold by 2.5 inch by the length of trouser. So you see that it's better that after you have cut your trouser and sewn, that you have enough space to fold, than after cutting it's not shortening or it's not short. So you have to fold 2 inches right there. You know, you can still fold the 2.5. So, but you have to measure what is left for your trouser. So you just fold. I can just take 2 inches and fold. You fold and then iron. So when you iron this one first, so the next you will do is to make sure you tuck it in this way. You tuck it in this way, and then arrange the lines from that folded edge. So once the lines have been arranged properly this way, you iron. You iron. So here you fold.
Threads of inspiration spin. Come on in, let's just begin. Every clip a world within. Join the flare under my skin. Creation flowing like a stream. Fashion bold and never mean. Unveil magic from my dream. Every sketch of fashion theme. Fashion spark ignites the night. Threads of inspiration spin. Come on in, let's just begin. Every clip a world within. Join the flare under my skin. Creation flowing like a stream. Fashion bold and never mean. Unveil magic from my dream. Every sketch a fashion theme. Yeah. Threads of inspiration spin. Come on in, let's just begin. Every clip a world within. Join the flare under my skin. Creation flowing like a stream. Fashion bold and never mean. Unveil magic from my dream. Every sketch of fashion theme.
So we have done the folding, and I use hemming gum to hem here, but I will so that it will lap properly, right? And the easiest way, the best thing you do is to measure your sewing. So for a perfect finish and perfect result, you are meant to sew 1.5 or maximum 1 3/4. Don't sew 2 inches so that it won't be too bold for an English trouser. So here I will measure 1.5 inch, and this is what I will sew. 1.5 this width. So I will make sure I stitch from here. So while sewing, try to make sure that your hands are as straight as possible. 1.5. Then when you get to the very end, try to make sure as well that the thread lapped perfectly. There should be no room for rumples or squeeze. So you stitch all the way this way. So these both lines must join, you see. So you cut your threads. Now the essence of showing you all of these things to the very end is for clarity's sake, so that anything about trouser, it has been taught thoroughly on my channel, like English trouser. Any other trouser type or pattern, I might bring it up subsequently. Look at it, it must be straight as possible. See, it must be straight as possible, right? Now do the same thing on the other leg. 1.5. is ideal or recommended. Don't sew more than 1.5. It is very important. So make sure you stitch at 1.5 inch. So carefully and gently sew. So now you have sewn to these very points. So the next you will lock now is your zip flap, the zip fly. So now for the zip fly locking, all you need to do as well is to unzip your trouser this way and then stitch from here, top stitch it from here, the top stitch from here to these very points. Once you have done this now, you have used it to lock this underneath flap. You have locked this region, right? You have locked this area. Then the last thing but not the least is to also sew this other part. So you also measure 1.5. It's 1.5. You don't need to be more than 1.5 so that it doesn't get too big. 1.5. You gently measure and then start from there and sew. Sewing, you are arranging the fabric, the trouser body. Make sure your hand is as straight as possible. Then once you're approaching like 1 inch or 1.5 inch before the end of the zip, you make sure you stop at a distance, then zip it back. You're not meant to sew when the zip is down. Then arrange the underneath fabric. Properly. Arrange it to lap perfectly well. So now when you are sewing, when you start covering this area, you can now pause and then tuck in the underneath flap. Make sure the flap underneath has been arranged to be straight or tucked in, and then you continue your stitch under. I will show you that one. Just carefully watch. Just stitch from here and then you arrange this layer of fabric and then you sew. So once you have sewn the curvy area of the trouser, let me arrange here. Cut your thread, then cut your thread very well. So this is what it looks like inside, and then it's now time for you to finally end the crotch points. Now for the crotch points ending, depending on how you lock your crotch, because of the fact that I locked my crotch from like the lap region, right? So this stuff will end at this point. It will end at this point. So what do you need to do? All you need to do now is to raise it up a bit. Don't cut exact, just make it to be a bit higher. Then cut off some excesses this way, and then attach it on the front crotch parts. On the front crotch part this way. On the front crotch parts only. So on the front crotch part. If I had locked from the back waist, I would have done it the other way around. But then attach from here. Then you stitch. Start from there, then you stitch. You make sure it's perfectly connected. You stitch all through this way. So now when you must have gotten to this stage, your trouser is done. So the last you will now do is to go and do the fine ironing, touch every area in the sun, and do packaging. So if you have watched to this very point, please don't forget to like this video. It's very important that you should like this video. So this is it. So this area can be folded with iron as well. You can put hemming gun here if you like, so that it's lapped this way. So we are done with our trouser. All right, so let's see the finishing of the trouser we have just made. So I just want us to see how well detailed it is. So this is just going to give us, look at it. You see how the trouser came out. So this is just one of the simplest ways, neatest ways you can make a create your trouser. So later on, I'll fix buttons here, 2 buttons here, 1 here. This one will lock with the underneath lock, and then here will lock as well. So look at the inside of the trouser. So one thing about trouser is that your trouser inside needs to be properly finished before you can boast of knowing how to stitch or sew trouser. So these gum stairs, I can cut it off in order to achieve a neater finish. You give me my scissors. So you can cut off the gum stair, the excess gum stair that came out at the underneath pockets, so that the pocketing should cover everything you need. So look at the inside of our trouser. You see the back detailing, you see the side, you see the front, you see the crotch area. So this is what I always preach: neat sewing and nice finishing. So cut off this so that it won't be easily visible from the outside. So if you have watched this video to this very point and you have followed the series, bear in mind that this video has a playlist which I uploaded them. So just do well to watch through from the series, and you will understand how to stitch trouser properly. All right, so you know what to do now. Just give me a thumbs up on this video, please. Watch, share, comment, and subscribe to my channel. All right, so we are good to go. So you do your final ironing, which I have done, and then you are good to go. So trouser choke, neatness choke, don't be cha. You see, neatly sewn, neatly finished. Bye bye for now.